even saran wrap it a whole bunch of times so that nothing can touch the surface. Ah! It's like sacrilege. Okay, we are gonna cut open these WRX taillights for the new throttle project. And you really have two options, and this is what it is. You either can slice them open with some kind of a cutter, in this case a Milwaukee, this is an M12 multi-tool, or you have the tried and true Dremel. Now this is a much different tip than you're probably used to using, but it's the one that leaves a very nice clean plastic cut line. What you probably don't want to use is what I'll show you next. Now this bad little baby is called an ultrasonic cutter, and I have a very dirty blade on it. But they make terrible noises, they overheat quickly, and unless you spend about $1,500 to $2,000, that's just not gonna be a good tool to use to make it through a whole set of taillights. So you might be asking yourself, should I actually cut open my taillights? And the answer is no. No, what? Why would you cut open your tail? Like, this is dangerous. It's easy to mess up. This is a terrible idea. Don't do what I'm about to show you how to do. But if you decide to, this is how you would do it. Now, in years past, I would just choose a corner and start chopping. But like, I like things to stay somewhat clean. I mean, this is a mess right now, but it's still clean. It's not like there's a bunch of crap all over the ground. So what you don't want to do is take something like this and take something like this that flings things all over the place and then just go after it like wherever you're at. I'm actually going to step outside of the workshop and go over where everything is already a disaster. And you'll hear kids screaming and birds chirping and airplanes flying overhead and all that good stuff. And we'll chop open the taillights right here. Step one is going to be removing all of our wires, which conveniently enough, this one is basically already kind of removed. Got a little piece of foam here on these WRX taillights. Every different set of taillights is going to be slightly different. So just make sure if there's stuff that you can remove, do that now. This is a good time to get all the extras out of the way because we're going to be cutting and we're going to have stuff that if you make one little slip up, it could be the difference of you having a visible mark on the outside of the actual lights, which we don't want. Now on this tail light, these are actually Dustin Williams old taillights, and after I took off a little, I think there was like tint, or maybe they just came this way. I forgot. Either way, they're trash. I can't use these things for anything. So I could totally mess these things up. But I'm going to try to do a good job. And I'm going to show you that I'm going to cut along the edge on the back side so that you cannot see it anywhere that I'm filming right now. But before you do anything, cover your face. This stuff's going to be poking me in the neck and the face all over the place. And with almost prophetic wisdom that we would all need lots of masks, XK Glow sent me a bunch of face mask, shield, sock things a long time ago. All right, and because I don't want this thing to fall off, I'm doing that. So we want to aim. Our goal is to go right next to that little seam right there, all right? All right, here is our first pass, and I was very happy to see that I was right on point. Now, if you're doing this somewhere where there's not a lot of ambient light bouncing around, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where you're at, because if you can see in there, there's a little bit of a chrome reflection, and that is because the inner bezel is bouncing light back out at me because I've got the beautiful blue sky above me and I've got light in the environment. But if I was in the workshop, I wouldn't have that. Which means you're almost flying blind a little bit. You're making cuts, but it just looks black inside the cut. You can't really see anything reflecting back off of that. So just word of the wise, if you can, I know it sounds weird, get outside. It's a better place to do it. There's fumes. This is terrible for you. You should not be doing this. What are you even watching this video for? All right, I think just to give you an idea of the amount of crap that's all over me, when you use that blade, the little pieces that cut off of the taillight, they actually stay mostly attached to the taillight, which is nice for cleanup because it's not like it's all melted pieces. If you use the wrong blade, it's gonna ball up and it's gonna get super hot and melt. But like, look at that little section right there. If I just snap it off, look, I'm just left with a nice clean cut line. So if you're gonna do this, if you're If you're watching this because you saw something on throttle in the future and they're like, hey, Chris made cool taillights, and you're like, hey, make me taillights. First off, no, I don't want to make you taillights. Second off, people that make the taillights do some very specialized work like this, and you can do it too. But I don't want to do it. That's why I'm teaching you right now, and all I ask is that you give me a like on this video. All right, get yourself dusted off because we're gonna be working with all these little parts now. We don't want to have all this crap get everywhere. So one thing I would definitely caution you on is going from this work environment straight inside. You don't want to do that because you're gonna track all this crap in on the bottom of your shoes into your house. So take a minute, get all the stuff off of this, get it all on the ground in front of you where the rest of the crap is at. You might need a little razor blade or something. I might need to grab something here in a second. But get it all on the ground. I'm gonna figure that that's about enough. Now I'm gonna take out my screws. I could have done this ahead of time. I think that this actually makes a little bit more sense because it's keeping everything really tight. And as you're gonna see in a minute, after I take all these things apart, everything's gonna get very kind of like wobbly and loose, and you can end up scratching the inside of your taillight lens, which, as you know, if you've watched that YouTube video right there that I made about the headlights, if you mess up the inside of the lens, that's it. You don't really have a lot of options. There's no like polishing it. But in this case, we've just got 5 screws. Those come out, and then after they do, the back part is going to be able to lift off if I have cut enough material. If not, it's going to fight me, and we're about to find out what happens. Okay, so little sections like right here where you can see a little bit of that red through there, and then it gets darker. It's because the plastic isn't 100% cut through, which is actually a good thing. You don't want to just have a massive Grand Canyon in between the plastic that you're working with on this side and on that side. It's good to have a nice thick bit left over here, as long as it's enough trimmed inward that the internals can come out, which we'll see in a second here. All right, one last little zipple. Zip my zipple. Can't see anything. Yeah. All right. And though you may want to, don't do that without eye coverings. Your eyeballs are important, you know? Come on, bro. You also might want to not wear good pants, because if you're working with the razor blade and it slips, it'll be your leg and your jeans and your boxers. I've got a matching scar, boxers, and jeans. It's pretty cool. They all go together. It's a set. The hard thing is when you're poking through with a razor blade, if you go too far, you're gonna hit the red plastic on the other side. And that is gonna leave a permanent mark on there that you cannot make it go away. Come on, fool. Look at this. This is how strong the plastic is. If one little teeny anchor is hanging on, it's not going to want to let go. Stupid. All right. Now, the moment of truth. This is where it matters if you've cut in far enough. If you have not, nothing is going to happen right now. But if you have, you should be able to lift this up. Ooh, you can even take this off in pieces. I think we can do it all at once. I might be wrong. It'd be cool if I was wrong, because I like to be wrong on camera, because it shows you what it would look like if you were wrong, trying to just do something the way that you kind of instinctively want to. Perfect. Just one little piece of plastic. You can see it right there, right at the end of my thumb. And what it's doing is holding on to the bezel, just a teeny tiny little bit. Now, instead of forcing it, I am just going to fillet said plastic off ever so gently. And now, this will slide right past it. It'll actually let me lift the whole thing up, which is what we're after. Now, in the case that you can't get it all out at once, because it's looking like I'm not going to be able to, I mean, I really want to, just because it's like the cool guy way to go. Let's just do it in pieces. All right, so this will slide out first. That's got your little C-bar, all that stuff in there. And why you don't want to fiddle around with this stuff, and probably why the best advice is don't try to take it out in one piece, is because as this thing wiggles around, what's it sitting on? It's sitting on the lens. So if that's making little baby micro scratches on there, you can't get rid of them. They're there forever. Sorry, dude. Pretty gnarly. If you look at this, like, that was all just to get these sections out. All these need to be done as painted black, but you do got to pop out the little lenses here. You have to make sure that after this thing is opened up, you blow it out with compressed air and all that, and then you're going to put this thing away. You can even saran wrap it a whole bunch of times so that nothing can touch the surface. Ah! It's like sacrilege. Don't let anything touch, because like I'm making little micro scratches with my fingers right here, and they're never coming out. If you want Dustin Williams' old taillight lens with my thumbprints all over the inside, DM me.
I thought it'd be pretty cool to do something different with these, and so these are going to be the very first set of sequential OEM circuit board WRX taillights that I build, and I'm going to use the Corso Motion sequencer, document all of that stuff, include it in my online courses, and give you guys a couple little sneak peeks about the process. Go ahead, check out the videos I am about to post up right now, and you'll have a good idea about what these things are going to be able to do. There's a style that you can use for the taillights, and if you want to do a set of custom headlights, which I'll be building as well, you can check out version 2, and that's both from Corso Motion. That's the sequencer I'll be using, but at this point it's time to clean up. If you're planning on doing some sort of a custom build like this, put in the comments below what kind of car are you working on, how are you going to use this information, and stay tuned because Vlogmas continues.